In this quick video, we're going to look at interpreting outgoing email logs in Setup to help administrators track email delivery. Please keep in mind that in order to carry out these functions, you'll need to be a system administrator in your Salesforce organization. Let's navigate to the email logs page in Setup. You can find it by searching Setup for email log. Once we arrive at the page, we can request an email log. Email logs can be requested for up to 30 days in the past. The maximum period a log will return for is 7 days. We can alter those times from the start time and end time. We should always set a start time within the 7-day period and an end time. Let's just reduce it down here from the default. The default is 7 days. We'll reduce it down. If you leave this area blank, this will return all emails during that period. You can specify to or from emails by listing the email addresses separated by commas here. And optionally, there's a notification of when the email logs are delivered after you've submitted the request, as sometimes the email logs can take a little time as there's a lot of data to pull. I did submit some logs earlier. Once you get a log, what you do is you download it and save it to the local machine and open it. Here are a few logs that I ran earlier just to look at some of the key columns and information in here. Obviously, the date and time of the email being sent is important. This in this log is in UTC or Greenwich Mean Time, so it keeps a universal time. Probably the next most important column is the mail event column. There are 4 values. There is R for received, D for delivered, P for permanent failure, and as we see here, T for a transient failure where we retry mails. The recipient and the sender, I think, are pretty self-explanatory. Here in the remote host column is the IP of the mail server that will receive the email. The 10.1s are all private IP space and usually the MTA that's receiving the emails, and the other public IPs, such as the 172 here, are the mail server receiving the mail. Here we have a nice delivery. The mail was received by our MTA and delivered pretty much about 0.53 seconds later to a public IP address. So that's a nice clean delivery, and most mails you'll see deliver like that. Other key columns here are the message ID. This is the unique ID of any message on the internet. All mail servers do this. This can be used for tracking emails in a mail client or a mail server or anyway, but it's one unique way to track an email from start to finish till it's the recipient's inbox. The retry count here, most rapidly delivered emails would deliver with a retry count of 0. As we see here, some of the mails hit a transient failure where I sent it to an address that doesn't exist in DNS, but it's not that any mail server could return back and say this really doesn't exist. So what we try to do is we try to deliver to email to this address for up to 24 hours, which is roughly about 9 retries in the retry count column. These delivery attempts pretty much double every time. There's probably about 5 minutes from the first to the second. This is measured in seconds, and then they double every time, and you get to about 9 retries. This guy, we got up to 5 retries, and that's when I kind of stopped doing the log. Transient failures and retries are all known as 400 errors. We'll talk about that in a little bit later. So this one shows some clean deliveries and then some transient failures that go on and on and on and on. We'll deliver, set up to 9 times, and then we'll do a permanent failure and bounce the email back to the sender at 24 hours. Let's just check another log real quickly. This is another log. Once again, we get a nice delivery at the start, a receive and a deliver. 0 retries, 0.53 seconds in the queue. Here I turned on email relay as well, so we get some other key fields populated. It shows the relay address that I set in Salesforce to relay mails to. It shows the relay port. I sent out a couple of emails. They all have the same ID. There's the same email. It was carbon copied. One was to a legitimate address I could relay to, which was delivered here, and one was to an address where we would get a permanent and instant failure 500 error, which basically said the account doesn't exist. The mail server replied and said, I'm going to permanently fail this, and we pass it back to the sender of the email. Moving onwards a little bit, let's talk a little bit about the 400 and the 500 errors. The 400 errors, as I said, are a transient failure. We will keep trying to deliver email for up to 24 hours. And as we see here, this is a 500 error, which is a pretty much a permanent failure straight away as we attempt to deliver the email to a mail server that says, I'm not going to take this off your hands, so we fail straight away. It's an instant failure as opposed to 24 hours. So once again, for email logs, there's some great reference in Help and Training. If we look here, look at this, the Help and Training site for email log reference, and it goes through a lot of the things I mentioned here to give you more backup information. Thank you for watching, and we hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions, please visit the Salesforce Help portal, where you can find great resources, including communities, documentation, trails, or you can also contact support. Happy trailblazing!